Om Nityam Sudham Nirabhasam Nirakaram Niranjanam Nityabodham Chidanandam Guru Brahma Namamyaham. Om. This chant means we bow to the Guru who is Brahman, eternal and pure, who is beyond perception, formless and without taint, who is eternal knowledge, consciousness and bliss. Chapter 8 is entitled Akshara Brahma Yoga, Eternal Brahma. And by gaining the knowledge and wisdom of Brahman, we become jnanis, being free from the limitation of our body, mind, senses. This is moksha. In concluding chapter 7, Sri Krishna said that as jnanis, even at the time of death, our final thought is Brahman, who is Adi Bhuta, Adi Devam, Adi Yajna. And Arjuna begins the chapter by asking for the meaning of these words. Om Namah Shivaya. Episode 33, Chapter 8, verses 1 to 7. How to remember Brahman even at the time of death. In verses 1 and 2, Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna by using two adjectives. First, as Purushottama, the highest, the one beyond whom there is no other. And number 2, Madhusudana, the one who destroyed the demon Madhu. He asked Sri Krishna, number 1, what is that Brahman? Kim tat Brahma? Number 2, what is that which is centered on the self? Kim Adhyatmam? Number 3, what is karma? Kim karma? Number 4, what is spoken to be said to be centered on the being? Adi bhutam ja kim proktam? Number 5, what is said to be centered on the gods? Adi devam kim uchyate? Number 6, on this body, atra dehe asmin, what is that which is said to be centered on the ritual? Adi yajnam katam ka? And number 7, at the time of death, prayana kale cha, how is Brahman known? Katam jneya asi, by those whose minds are steady. Niyata atmabhi. Normally, at the time of death, our main concern is survival and other urgent matters. How can the jnanis think of Brahman even at the time of death? In verses 3 to 7, Sri Krishna answers each and every question of Arjuna's and continues to elaborate in the remaining verses of this chapter. In verse 3, Sri Krishna says that Brahman is limitless, not subject to change. Akshara Paramam Brahma. Brahman has no dimension. Because of Brahman, space exists. Brahman pervades space. And when we are in deep sleep or when the creation gets dissolved, space does not exist. But Brahman is. Number 2, Brahman's pure consciousness, that is on the bodies of jivas, is called Adhyatma. The meaning of Brahman and Adhyatma are identical but used in different contexts. Brahman is used when we refer to the pure consciousness pervading the entire creation, whereas Adhyatma is used when the pure consciousness is on the bodies of jivas. Number 3, karma means any action. But in the Shastra, it means an offering that is given to the devatas. Visargaha karma sanjnitaha. And number 4, when a karma is done to fulfill a desire, we incur punyas and papas, for which bodies are created for the jivas. Bhuta bhava utbhava kara. Jivas are not created, but the bodies are created for the jivas to work out their karmas. In verse 4, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that the most exalted being of all those who have bodies, Dehe Deha Vritam Varaha, knows that all beings are subject to change and destruction. Adibhuta Shara Bhavaha. Even though something changes and gets destroyed, it does not disappear, because everything arises from Brahman, sustained by Brahman, and dissolves back into Brahman. So Brahman is Adhyatma when centered on the bodies of Jiva, Adi Yajna when centered on rituals, Adi Devam when centered on the gods, and Adi Bhuta when centered on the beings. Verse 5 tells us that when we are Jivan Muktas, when we have the knowledge and wisdom of Brahman, number 1, at the time of death, Antakale cha, we remember Brahman alone, Mam eva smaran. To depart, giving up this body, Muktva Kalevaram Ya Prayanti. To gain Brahman, Mat Bhavam Yati. Regarding this, there is no doubt. Na asti atra samshaya. The logic of this verse is explained in the next verse. Verse 6 tells us that our deepest psychic impression conditions our thought pattern, and these impressions dominates our thought throughout our lives, and these thoughts will come to the forefront of our mind at the time of death. Merely thinking is not enough. For this, Karma Yoga is very important. We must have a purified mind and convert ourselves to Jignasus, committed with love to gain the knowledge of Brahman, to be in the state of Ishvara, Sada Tat Bhava Bhavitaha, to reach Ishvara alone, Tam Tam Eva Eti. If on the other hand, if our desires like wealth and pleasure dominated our thoughts, then that will come to the forefront of our mind at the time of death. And our next life, we continue seeking these pleasures. Verse 7 tells us, therefore, we must contemplate upon Ishvara. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaran. Our contemplation must be in keeping with the teaching of the Vedanta Shastra, by listening, analyzing, and contemplating upon it. Number 2, at the same time, we must ensure we continue doing our duties. And in Arjuna's case, it was to fight, yudhyacha, uphold dharma. In our case, it is our duty towards ourselves, our family, society, etc. Number 3, by offering our mind and intellect to Ishvara. Mayi arpita mano buddhi. We must offer our personal affection into the fire of yoga. For example, Arjuna did not desire for this war. But being born a Kshatriya, he has to maintain the law and order of the land, no matter who is standing on the opposite side. And number 4, when we offer our mind and intellect to Ishvara, we gain Ishvara. Mam eva isyasi. Regarding this, there is no doubt, asamshaya. If, for example, we have started our commitment towards gaining the knowledge of Brahman, and if we die before gaining this clarity, then we will continue this study in our next birth. The Gita addresses the needs of all human beings. And as people are of different levels of understanding, let's divide people into 4 groups according to the 3 sections of the Gita. First are the jnanis, those who have gained the knowledge and wisdom of Brahman. They have completed the 18 chapters. Second is the karma yogis. They have done the first 6 chapters. They have purified their mind. Number 3 are the Vedavids. They have done the 12 chapters. They have purified their mind and they have the knowledge of Brahman. Now they are ready to convert this knowledge into wisdom. And 4th are the Karmatas. They have not begun the study of the Gita, but they are good people. They are doing rituals righteously to fulfill their desires. The remaining verses of this chapter addresses these 4 groups of people. And at verse 7, we shall take a break. And next, we are going to see how jnanis gain this wisdom. So till then, Om Namah Shivaya.